It is often said that there are two sides to every story. But what did German soldiers think about their role in the Second World War? In the following film, you will hear rare testimony from German veterans reflecting on their experiences. Their statements, translated and voiced using AI, offer insight into how some Wehrmacht soldiers understood their role in the conflict, justified through ideology, patriotism, and a fear of Bolshevism. Now, in their own words.
We did not fight against the Russians, but against Bolshevism.
And tried to protect our country, and especially perhaps all of Europe. If we hadn't stopped Bolshevism, it might have come to Ireland, and perhaps to France and so on.
This distinction between the Russian people and Soviet ideology was a core justification used by many German soldiers. Nazi propaganda framed the war in the East as a crusade against communism, rather than an invasion of a sovereign nation.
We had to fight against the Americans as well, because they landed in France and in Italy and in Africa and so on. In the end, we fought against the Russians, against a 12-fold superiority in part, and always with the hope of still keeping him from the borders of the Reich.
As the war expanded, German forces found themselves fighting on multiple fronts. For these men, what began as a mission in the East had transformed into total war.
He did not sign the Geneva Convention, and thus did not have to use the laws of war. He showed this and accordingly incited our population, of course, through Soviet propaganda, the Bolshevik one, massacred and partially mistreated, mainly the women.
These claims reflect widely held perceptions within the Wehrmacht regarding Soviet conduct. While atrocities were indeed committed by all sides, the idea of moral superiority was often repeated by German veterans in post-war interviews.
If you're enjoying these renditions of the past, then subscribe to the channel. It helps more than you know.
The rape of women.
The Russians did that.
Germans did not do that, no.
Not the Germans.
Oh, no.
Anyone caught was immediately shot.
The German Wehrmacht did not do that.
That was not allowed, so whoever was caught would be immediately shot or put into a penal company.
As the interview continues, we hear from the person behind the camera. Not a soldier, but a civilian conducting the interview. Her family had lived through the occupation.
There were also unpleasant incidents between the Wehrmacht and the population. In Holland, in Putten, my village.
What happened?
The Wehrmacht surrounded the entire village and deported the male population for forced labor in the Reich. And of the more than 600 men taken away, only 49 returned.
Do you have any evidence?
Yes, the men never returned. My great-uncle was among them. They perished.
And the Wehrmacht did that? I don't believe it. The Wehrmacht used this labor deployment to arrest people. That was maybe the police force.
In the autumn of 1944, the quiet Dutch village of Putten became the target of brutal retribution. After a German officer was attacked by resistance fighters nearby, the Wehrmacht responded not with precision, but with vengeance. On October 1st, German troops surrounded the village. House by house, they dragged out the men, over 660 in total, aged between 18 and 50. They were sent first to Amersfoort, and then scattered across concentration camps like Neuengamme and Laderlund. Only 48 returned. The rest died in forced labor, starvation, or disease.
Just outside the village, an attack was carried out on a German car. There were two, but it was not visible.
That will trigger it. That's how it is.
There is always a reason when such reactions overreact.
But that was not in accordance with the laws of war.
Yes.
But the fact that the attackers, where the car was destroyed or someone was killed by partisans or non-combatants, that was also not according to the laws of war, or were they Dutch soldiers?
No, it was a resistance fight.
You see, there we already have partisans.
Say that it is so. The reaction to this occurrence, that a vehicle was destroyed by partisans.
This exchange reveals a bitter truth, that reprisals were often carried out regardless of official military status. For the Wehrmacht, any act of defiance was met with overwhelming force.
But the very first crime was that the Netherlands were overrun by war.
A marcher. A marcher. Without asking if we are allowed to. Hey, if the Wehrmacht is allowed to. First should have asked, are we allowed to go through Holland?
Maybe declare war.
Yes, but nobody would have said you can do that. In war, different laws apply.
War reshapes memory and blurs responsibility. These voices don't offer clear truths, but they reveal a mindset, hardened in conflict and softened by time. To listen isn't to excuse, it's to understand how the past is remembered and why it must never be repeated.
If you like history content, then subscribe to History in Motion.